Chair. Panel, thank you so much for coming today. I'm interested in and just want to talk to you for a moment about the networking gap that you identified in the report. And I just want to echo my colleague, Mr. Cloud. I don't think there's a dearth of information out there. It's really a debate of how to access it, how to triage it, and make it useful for decision makers and policymakers. I represent Florida's 6th congressional district in central and northeast Florida, and the district that I'm in is home to several universities, including Embry-Riddle Aeronautical University, Stetson University, Bethune-Cookman, and others, and they really are doing phenomenal work, much of it federally supported, in paving the way for research and development in science and technology. And the Napa report identified a gap in networking, in the networking support category, which basically the report defined as assisting Congress in gaining access to outside S&T experts. So, Mr. McCord, what do you see as preventing Congress from fully accessing and utilizing these important, critical academic experts as a resource for us?
Well, as has been noted, your institution gets a lot of input, and you have to then filter whether or not you think that it's got too much of a personal interest to grind, axe to grind on when it comes in. On the networking side, I think we felt that if you had this advisory office that we talk about, someone that would be the face of science and technology for the Hill, that they would be able to do a coordinating function, to be a face that people could reach out to, and an ombudsman for an office like yours to go to say, I'm having trouble getting the information I need. Can you help me get in touch with the right people? Rather than have you, that's not to say that you wouldn't have a workaround. You probably do, since that the thing we're talking about doesn't exist. Perhaps you go to GAO and CRS separately and say, can you help me? Or perhaps you reach out to someone you know and trust, someone like Dr. Blair, who's outside the legislative branch entirely. What we think this coordinating office could do, though, is again to be more of the face of science and technology and an ombudsman to help you with these problems.
Thank you, Ms. Panley. Anything? Would you add anything to that?
It's related, but I'd actually like to just get this on the record. Speaking only for myself personally, a lot of this conversation has been about how we would bolster GAO and some of the other support agencies. But from my experience working with large bureaucracies and inside of them, it is very difficult to change an institution from within, especially culturally. And from my work with tech startups, some of the most successful ones are the ones that deeply understand users from the start and can design from the ground up exactly what's needed. So a lot of this conversation has been focused on what's happened in the past and whether or not it was political or whether or not it was extremely useful and saved lots of dollars. But I think we've all acknowledged here that if we were to reinstate an OTA, it would be vastly different, completely different from the past. So I just want to get that on the record to say that it isn't a completely absurd idea to do that, but I do think it needs to be done in combination with GAO.
Thank you. And just in the interest of time, looking over the horizon, I mean, looking at long-term trends rather than the kind of the immediate requests, how would that office or how would the advisor do that versus what GAO and what CRS is currently able to do? Would that be a specific mandate? I mean, I'm really interested in looking at, decades out trends that we can start absorbing and hopefully begin legislating towards.
Thank you. Well, in the panel's view, that this office, especially at the beginning, would not have the capacity to do all of that itself. It probably would need to go out and contract with other people and work with other people, including at GAO and probably including the National Academies of Sciences also. And from my background in the defense world, it was routine to have witnesses come in at the start of the year. Director of National Intelligence comes in and does, here's what I see. Combatant commanders from around the different geographic parts of the world do the same. So it's kind of that model of people that have that broad view come in and tell you what they see. And the horizon can be, you know, whatever you, the members, do you want 5 years, do you want 10 years, do you want 20? That'd be something for this committee and others to kind of give direction to. Similarly, I think you would want to decide, do you want them to look at, here are the big developments in science and technology that we see, or here are the big developments that we see where public policy is farthest behind. So you could have, again, that would be something that we would kind of leave to you to decide, what do you want that horizon scanning function to be.
Thank you, and thank you all for coming today. Madam Chair.